Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another live stream here on Langer at the Mic Live. The Langer at the Mic Live NFL Marathon continues here, our third stream of the night. This time, we're getting right into making our predictions for week one of the NFL season. There's only one week one every year. I keep saying this, starting tomorrow, obviously, with Cowboys and Bucks. But I always say that like Christmas, there's only one week. There's only one NFL week one of the year where all 32 teams, no matter how good or how bad, have a chance to maybe make the playoffs and maybe win the Super Bowl. So that's just what's so amazing about watching NFL week one. Gonna watch Red Zone all day on Sunday and all that good stuff. I'm really, really excited. But let's pick our games. Let's get right into things. I'm gonna pull up our pick'em screen right over here from NFL.com. So right off the bat, Cowboys, Bucks. Like I said before, talked at length about it in a previous video. Check it out. Previous stream about a half hour ago. Cowboys, it all comes down to Dak. Can Dak make enough plays to help the Cowboys win? Obviously, it's the Bucks amazing front seven that has that. It's their front seven and their weapons that won them the Super Bowl last year. And I think that's what's going to, look at the odds over here. 92% are voting for the Bucks. I'm going to agree with that. I'm in favor of the Bucks winning as well on week one because, like I said, just their front seven and their weapons will just be too much for the Cowboys to handle. So that's Cowboys, Bucks. Now, Seahawks and Colts. I would say like the Colts with Carson Wentz being out, not just Carson Wentz, but also a little bit banged up on the offensive line. Quentin Nelson, I'm blanking out on names tonight. I don't know why, but Quentin Nelson is also out, and that's a huge loss for them. And look, the Seahawks, they have over the last couple of years, they've been one of those teams that just win really close games and lose games that they shouldn't be losing. But this one has the feeling of a Seahawks win against the Colts that are just beat up and demoralized and all that. So I think the Seahawks are going to be too much for them to handle. I'm going to go Seahawks. I know I'm picking the favorites so far, but I won't for long. Don't worry. I got the Seahawks in this one here. Then next, we have the Steelers and the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, Big Ben is washed. Pittsburgh just got embarrassed by Cleveland. They came back. They made a very exciting game, that championship game, but they also lost to Buffalo in Buffalo last year. And while I think teams are going to kind of adjust to Josh Allen, although he could also take another step in his development as a young top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Pittsburgh is just not like the Bills are going to be too much for Pittsburgh to handle once again. So I'm giving the Bills the win on this one. Packers Saints. A very scary offseason for the Green Bay Packers this year. Very scary with what happened with Aaron Rodgers. But that the Aaron Rodgers, they almost had to trade him because he almost didn't show up. But I honestly, if I was Aaron Rodgers, I would have gone possibly all the way and really tried to explore a trade. But they kept Aaron Rodgers, the MVP of last year. And the Saints, who I think will be okay this year, even without Drew Brees, who retired. I think with Taysom Hill, Jameis Winston, they'll be okay because of Sean Payton and because they still have a really, really good defense. But against Green Bay, week one, be a little too much to handle for them. So I'm going Packers over the Saints. This one, Patriots and Dolphins. This is probably one of the most fun week one matchups here because it could literally go either way. We have no idea like this could literally go either way. Dolphins, could Tua maybe take that next step? Maybe. Dolphins, obviously coached by Brian Flores, a former Patriots special teams coordinator, I believe. Patriots having just released Cam Newton, which means that Mac Jones is going to be their week one starter. Is Mac Jones and Bill Belichick, is that going to be like a Brady-Belichick connection? Maybe. But I think it all comes down to, Bill Belichick Bill Belichick knew the Patriots were going to have a lost year last year, and he did. And he still got them to play hard and tough, and they beat some good teams last year. They had some big losses, of course, because Cam Newton was just not a good quarterback anymore. But to me, Bill Belichick is still the reason why the Patriots are going to be a lot better this year. And also, they did have a very good offseason. But I think the Dolphins are also going to be better this year. Devontae Parker, and obviously they have obviously Tua. I think Tua might not be as good as Dolphins fans want him to be, but I think he'll be good enough to win them some games. And I think the Dolphins will beat the Patriots. I'm taking the Dolphins over the Patriots. Sunday night game, LA and the Chicago Bears. LA and the Chicago Bears. I feel like there's missing some here. Yeah. Missing some here. But anyway, I'll get to the rest later. Chicago and LA in the Sunday night game. I think LA should win this one, but this year with LA, we're going to see a lot of what Matthew Stafford is made of. We're going to see how good Matthew Stafford really is, whether he's a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I'd say maybe even top 5, but was just was buried in Detroit, or is he just really the reason why Detroit was mediocre because despite all his arm talent, just was not good enough to win them many games or consistently win football games. But LA is a really, Sean McVay is one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. Really good young head coach. Cowboys have only solved him once in the last 4 times they played him. 4 times they played him. Cowboys are only 1 for 3 between the championship game between 2017 and week 1 last year. But I think this is a game the Rams will win. The Bears between Justin Fields, Nick Foles, who's going to start for them at quarterback, who's going to stay under center. I think Justin Fields is going to be really, really good. I love Justin Fields. I love the fact the Bears trade up for him, and I think he'll be really, really good, but not quite yet. I'm taking the Rams in this one. Then Monday Night Football, Raiders and Ravens. This is an interesting one. This is a very interesting one. Ravens, I for one think Lamar Jackson is overrated as a passer. I find that these running quarterbacks, you look at RG3 back in the day, you look at Kyler Murray, you look at Lamar Jackson, they'll have a really, really, really good season. Lamar Jackson, MVP, even Cam Newton, we can point out Cam Newton, MVP 2015. But then, Cam Newton, I think, was mostly just taking a lot of hits. But bottom line is the league adjusts to running quarterbacks who aren't the best pure passers. Kyler Murray, I think, could be an okay passer, but not a really good one. And if you can find a way to keep these guys in the pocket and not let them beat you with their legs, they're not going to beat you with their arms too much. And the Ravens obviously lost J.K. Dobbins. That's a tremendous loss to their backfield, although running quarterbacks do make the running backs they play with that much more effective. I'm going to pick the upset in this one. I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders. Even though the Raiders are just one of those teams that are just mediocre consistently, just not great drafting, just very questionable player personnel decisions and all that. But they also win some really weird games. They upset the Chiefs last year. They were one of 2. They were the only team that beat the Chiefs last year, besides week 17, where the Chiefs were basically playing their backups because they locked up the bye. And I think this could be one of those games where people overlook the Raiders and the Raiders actually win. So I'm taking the Raiders in that week 1 matchup. And now, for some reason, I don't know why all of the games aren't there in that pick'em. I thought I found a good pick'em page, but I clearly didn't. So let's pull out just the good old NFL schedule here and predict the rest of them. So let's pull it up over here. Okay. Cowboys, Bucks, we did. Texans and Jaguars. Okay, well, there we go. There are the games that we're missing. But yeah, Texans and Jaguars. Houston is trash. Oh, crap, I didn't want to open it. Is there a way I could get the other games in here somewhere? I don't know. Anyway, okay. Yeah, Texans, Jaguars. I would say trash versus even more trash. The whole Deshaun Watson situation is just blows my mind how he's still in the roster, how they still haven't traded him yet, how he's not even their starter, how Tyrod Taylor is starting for the Texans. They could go 0-17 this year. They could literally go 0-17 this year. But the Jaguars, you know what? I'll give them some credit because Trevor Lawrence, obviously. Urban Meyer, I think, will not be as good as people are hyping him up to be, but they'll be really good because Trevor Lawrence is potentially a generational quarterback. So and just by that alone, Jaguars beat the Texans. Washington over Chargers. Hope it doesn't open it. Yep, it does. Okay, never mind. So I'll stop clicking it. Jacksonville over the Washington football team versus the LA Chargers. Can Herbert take that next step? What the heck am I doing here? Here. Can Justin Herbert take that next step in his development? Or will Washington's defense be too much for him? It's basically, that's what it comes down to. Washington's defense over Justin Herbert. Who's going to prevail? And I honestly think that I'm going to say Washington. I'm going to say Washington wins this one. Because as good as Justin Herbert was last year, they've also lost so many games like at the last second because of just game-winning plays that didn't count or just miscues and mismanagement. They've just, I just, until the Chargers show me otherwise, I'm going to take Washington. I'm going to take Washington this one. Their defense is going to prevail. Their defense is just going to be just good enough. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, we're going to see good Ryan Fitzpatrick in Washington. I mean, they're on the road. The Chargers are on the road coming in from the West Coast. Yeah, I'm taking Washington in this one. We already took Colts and Seahawks. I said Seahawks. Panthers, Jets. Panthers, Jets. This is another, like, these are two teams that were obviously have been really bad the last couple of years. But they're two interesting teams because they could take that next step. And obviously Sam Darnold. Yeah, Sam Darnold. I keep confusing Sam and Aaron Donald. But anyway, yeah, Sam Darnold against his former team will have a lot to prove. The Jets are one of those teams that just obviously cousin's a Jets fan, uncle's a Jets fan. So I have a soft spot for the New York Jets and for all they've suffered through in the last 20, 30, 40, whatever many years. But I think they'll be good this year. I think the Jets, they could be about just slightly below 500 or just about a 8-9 team this year. So they're not going to be as bad as they've been. I think they can surprise, but in this game, Sam Darnold is just going to have too much to prove. And obviously I really love their offseason this year. I love their draft. They brought in one of the best coaches of the offseason this year, and blanking on names all day today. I don't know why I'm blanking on too many names here. But yeah, the Jets, they had a really good offseason. They're going to be good this year, but Robert Saleh. Yeah, there you go. Robert Saleh. I'm just, again, blanking on names so badly because that's the problem. I guess we're going between hockey mode and football mode. But anyway, Robert Saleh, one of the best, is probably the best coaching hire of the offseason. First time, probably the best coach the Jets have had since the prime of Rex Ryan. So the Jets are going to be good this year. But again, I think the Panthers will be better in week one and they'll come out on top. Vikings, Bengals. I think the Vikings, to me, the issue with the Bengals is, they're the Bengals, of course. Obviously, Joe Burrow coming off that ACL injury last year. But to me, I know they wanted Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow connection from LSU, which is why they drafted Jamar Chase. But the Bengals, they need offensive line help. They need to protect Joe Burrow. And that's how they're going to struggle this year because Joe Burrow is going to keep running for his life. He won't have time to find Jamar Chase. You won't have time to find T. Higgins. So, and I hate to say that he'll tear his ACL, have another devastating injury again this year. But, I just don't like the Bengals, the fact they didn't address the offensive line. So I'm going to take the Vikings in this one. Vikings over Bengals. A couple more here. We have Titans, Cardinals. Honestly, simple. Titans love their offense. Their defense was a little suspect last year, but I I find Kyler Murray overrated, honestly. I really do. And I think, like I've said before with Lamar Jackson, over and over and over again, teams adjust to running quarterbacks. The league adjusts, and I think Kyler Murray, again, had a chance to lead the Cardinals to the playoffs last year, but didn't. Obviously, he won them a lot of games like against the Bills with the Hail Murray, and he's still dynamic with his feet, but that arm is good, but just not always accurate. Not fine. He just doesn't always see the field well. So I'm going Titans in this one. I'm going Titans in this one. Niners Lions. Niners Lions. Niners are going to bounce back this year. I mean, they have to because of how many injuries they suffered last year. Lions losing Stafford is a big one. That's a tough one. I just think that as much as the new again, blanking on names here, going from hockey to football, their new head coach, as long as I like their coaching hire there in Bruce Dan Campbell. Yeah, there you go, Dan Campbell. I knew it was Campbell, but yeah, there was a lot of Campbells. But anyway, so Dan Campbell, I don't love that hire, but I don't hate it. But I still find it's Detroit, and the Lions are just still going to lion, and they're going to be mediocre this year, which is why they'll be mediocre in this game. I got 49ers in this one. Steelers, Bills, we already did. Falcons, Eagles, not going to spend too much time. They're both rebuilding teams, but I think the Eagles are going to be god-awful this year. The Falcons are going to be less awful. Give me Falcons in week 1. Chiefs and Browns. Chiefs and Browns. This is a fun one. Rematch, obviously, of the AFC divisional round game last year. I'm taking the Chiefs. I think the Browns, it's their division to lose this year. The AFC North is the Browns' division to lose this year. The Ravens are good, but I think they've taken a step back last year, and they're going to be as good as they were last year, if not worse. I don't think they're going to be much better than they were last year. The Ravens, the Browns, I think, and the Steelers with Big Ben being washed. I think the Steelers take another step back this year. The Bengals, I don't think they're quite there yet to take the next step. Browns are going to be that's why, to me, the Browns are the best team to take another step forward in the AFC North this year. But just the Chiefs are too much for them. They're going to be too much for them in week 1. So I'm going with the Chiefs. Packers, Saints, we already did. Giants, Broncos, not going to spend too much time on that, honestly. As long as Daniel Jones is under center for the Giants, they're going to lose games. They're going to be a mediocre team. As long as Jason Garrett, as long as they have the old school mentality, yeah, they'll win some tough, hard-fought games like they did against Seattle last year. Sure, they could win maybe some. They'll beat the Eagles. They'll beat maybe the Washington football team, like in the division. Maybe they'll even beat the Cowboys. I didn't predict that they would this year, but they could sure sneak out a win against the Cowboys. But because if you lose to the Giants, it's because you suck and not because the Giants are good. So I think the Broncos are going to win this one, even on the West Coast. They're also playing at 4:25, not at 1 o'clock. So I think this works in the Broncos' favor, and Denver's going to beat the Giants. Dolphins, Patriots, we already did. Bears, Rams, we already did. And Ravens, Raiders, we already did. So that is it for our Pick'em episode here on Langer the Mike Live. As usual, if you enjoy my commentary, give me a big thumbs up on this video. Maybe we'll have some friends on the show to do our Pick'em like we had last year. So we'll stay tuned for that going forward. But as usual, thank you so much for joining in on this Langer at the Mic Week 1 predictions show. And if you enjoy my commentary, give me a big thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to my channel. Give me a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Mike Langer for all 3. And as usual, thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.